the second presentation, we will be doing a deep dive into the meaning and context of one of Barbara Kruger's artworks. The artwork I chose for this was Kruger's untitled Your Body is a Battleground. Starting off, we will analyze this artwork for its meaning and context. As you can see, the artwork is on the right, and the deep dive into the meaning is on the left. So regarding the meaning of this artwork, Barbara Kruger was a known feminist who classified her artworks as feminist, contemporary, and anti-consumerism and mass media exploration. To find the meaning of this artwork, one must simply examine the text provided, which reads, "Your body is a battleground." In the foreground of this message, there is a woman who appears in two monochrome sections of black and white. This text tells women that their bodies are battlegrounds, clearly related to women's reproductive rights and right to abortion and contraceptives. Kruger utilizes this text to examine the battle for these rights. So, Kruger's artworks oftentimes were feminist artworks, or either that or anti-consumerism artworks. This artwork is clearly a feminist artwork. It's clearly meant for the Women's March, and it was clearly meant to bring up the discussion of abortion legality and women's right to reproductive measures and women's rights to contraceptives. Not to mention this section right here where there's a woman who appears in two monochrome sections of black and white. Many critics have said that the reason why the woman is in two sections is because it represents the divide in the nation over the legality of abortion. Now, that's the meaning of this artwork. And even while this artwork was relevant in the 1980s and the 1990s, it's still very relevant today. But overall, the text "Your Body is a Battleground" clearly is talking about women's reproductive rights and right to abortion. Overall, Kruger's text relates to the battleground that women face when it comes to reproductive rights and other similar rights. The meaning here is that this is a feminist artwork promoting the advancement of women and their reproductive rights. In general, Kruger's meaning relates to this. That is the meaning. Let's now move on to a deep dive into the context of this artwork. So regarding the context of this artwork, Barbara Kruger was again a known feminist. This artwork's meaning has been explained, and as a result, the context is pretty similar to this. In general, when Kruger created this artwork, there had been several anti-abortion laws passed, and the Women's March in Washington, April 1989, was started. This was a huge march that was advocating for pro-choice abortion laws, for abortion laws that would expand Roe versus Wade, and it was just advocating for gender equality and gender equity and for the advancement of women. So there was the Women's March, but there was also a pretty significant conservative and anti-abortion base throughout throughout the United States, and that was relevant in the 1989s and also today. But so basically, Kruger created this artwork for the Women's March in support of the feminist movement and the reproductive rights and other similar rights that this movement was advocating for. Kruger created this artwork because several anti-abortion laws had been passed that tried to reverse the landmark Supreme Court decision Roe versus Wade. As a result, Kruger created this artwork in order to advocate for women to support each other, Roe versus Wade, and progressive change. This artwork was also meant to advocate for pro-choice voices in the abortion discussion. And finally, I mentioned what I mentioned earlier about the woman's split face has been expressed by critics to possibly represent the divide in the country over abortion laws, and the legality of it. But in general, the meaning is that this is a feminist artwork and it relates to the battle that a lot of women are going through. Now, the context is that there was a lot of disagreement throughout the United States over these anti-abortion laws, and the context is also that there was the Women's March in Washington, and Kruger, being a known feminist, obviously wanted to support this march. So this has been a deep dive into the context and the meaning of this artwork. Thank you.